This is Boston Jimmie here, Stogie Press, and I'm sitting here today with Reagan Starner, who is the owner of R R Cigars in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is probably the longest drive I've ever made to smoke a cigar. 8 hours from Melbourne, Florida, 580 miles, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here now with you, as I promised to come in and see this lounge. I saw that you did an event with Hiram and Solomon, and I was impressed by the lounge, and I had to come see it.
Well, thank you for coming such a long way. We always want to be we always say we want to be a destination shop, you know, for cigar smokers throughout the U.S. and having you here kind of solidifies that R&R really is, you know, a nationwide destination for cigar smokers, and we're honored to have you here today.
Well, thank you, and I do appreciate your time. So when you come into this lounge, the first thing you'll see is this is an old building. This building was built in 1903?
Yeah, 1903.
And this was not the original building?
No. The one next door was actually here first. And then it's called the Maxwell House. So R&R Cigars at the Maxwell House. The house next door was the Maxwell's daughter's house when she got married. They moved it from this lot, and through some feat of ancient engineering, they were able to move that house over there and then construct this one. It was the first house in Tuscaloosa with indoor plumbing, with electricity, and now we have a fantastic cigar bar.
And this is, and you'll see the videos I did of the walkthrough in the video that's below this. So check it out. But we'll talk a little bit about your dad, Randy, right? Whose idea was this, yours or your dad's?
It was a collaboration. You know, we'd always wanted to open a cigar bar. We'd always sat around on our back patio, and we called it the R&R for Randy and Reagan, or he says Reagan and Randy. Everybody wants to know which R comes first. I say it's Randy and Reagan. He says Reagan and Randy. So we try to defer to each other. But you know, really, with this place, we wanted a place that was just completely different from every cigar shop we've ever been into. Like, we have 7 different lounges that you can smoke in when you're here. Because I always hated, you know, being a young cigar smoker. When I first started going to cigar shops, I was about 21 years old. You know, and you'd go in, and there was definitely that vibe of like, what are you doing in here? You're just a kid, you know. And I still get that today, you know, with in the industry, you know. And we wanted a place that was different. You know, we wanted a place where everybody was welcome. We didn't want a place where, you know, you go into some shops and they're like, hey, you can't sit there, and it's an open seat. What do you mean I can't sit there? Oh, that's Jim's seat. Well, is Jim here? Nobody might come in today. Well, okay, well, how about I sit here until Jim gets here? You know, so, you know, or you get stuck, right? You're at a cigar shop and you get stuck into a conversation where you've got one guy that's a huge Trump fan, you got another guy that's not a Trump fan, and you got to hear them argue, right? And that's not enjoyable for anybody. So with this place, we took all of the things that we hated about cigar shops, and we said we're not going to do those things. And we took all the things that we wish cigar shops had, you know, like the tray tables there for, like, you know, if you want food, and the different places for you to spread out. We took a lot of the things that we wish cigar shops had, the things that cigar shops didn't have, and really came up with this idea of R&R being a place for everybody, where you come in with your friends, and you and your friends get to have a great time. You know, you come in and you have your own area, right? You don't have to listen to you don't have that just big room where everybody congregates and you have to listen to what's going on. If you want to come in and you want to watch a football game or a sporting event, you can watch a sporting event. If you guys want to come in, you want to talk, you can go sit in there and you can talk, and you're not going to be bothered by outsiders. You know, if you want to congregate with other people, obviously you can still do that, you know. But, you know, at the end of the day, it allows us to have, you know, to accommodate, you know, up to 100 different people of all different backgrounds, all different ideologies, all different people, you know, in a great environment that's welcoming to everybody.
So in addition to the 7 lounges and
Yeah.
rooms you have,
Right.
you also have this very large outdoor patio that was part of this, obviously part of this original house. How many people can you sit on the patio?
50.
50 people in the patio.
Comfortably.
And in the lounges?
Yeah, 50.
50.
50 inside, 50 on the patio.
Okay.
You know, when we can add chairs as needed too. Like we had when we did a thing with the block party with Jack Tarano in June. We had a big block party. We had one of the local restaurants came out, made burgers on the spot for everybody. We had over 300 people here that day, and we had chairs for 160 people.
Right.
You know, so we had the great thing about having, you know, a 3-story, 6,000 square foot mansion for a cigar shop is we can really accommodate as many people as we want to. And, you know, and some days we push our limits for how many we can actually fit in here.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it's a great problem to have. You know, but we're always slammed, and especially on, you know, busy nights. You know, it's not uncommon to go out on, especially if it's a nice night. It's not uncommon, and every seat on the front porch will be full.
That's
You
a
know?
good problem to
That is
have.
a very good problem to have.
And you are here in the center of University of Alabama, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, yep.
So you get a lot of people visiting here
Yeah.
from all around the country,
Sure.
probably in the world,
Yep.
that visit their children while they're in college, while
Yeah.
the students are in college, and a number of those, I imagine, like to come over and enjoy a cigar.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and it's always my favorite when they say, "Oh, R&R is better than my shop in my hometown." I love hearing that. I mean, no offense to their shops in their hometown, but it's always nice to have that, you know, people telling you you've done what you set out to do, and you know, it's just it's refreshing to hear it. You know.
So being the home of University of Alabama,
Yep.
I look around this room we're sitting in here. We
Yeah.
talked about this earlier. Obviously, we've got a Roll Tide National Championship flag.
Yep.
We also have a Cincinnati Reds flag.
Yep.
And we have a Tampa Bay Buccaneer logo
Yeah.
on the wall.
Yep.
Can you explain the each of those and what the symbolism is
Yeah.
to you?
Well, obviously, Alabama being, you know, a mile from campus, it's important that we are fans of Alabama. So that one's kind of the obvious one, right? I was born in Lakeland, which is about an hour outside of Tampa, and I grew up, you know, a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan with like Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Warwick Dunn, Trent Dilfer, and all those guys. And then my dad's from Cincinnati, so I grew up a Reds fan. We made every year until we opened this shop. So we went about 25 years straight. Every summer we would go up to Cincinnati for a Reds baseball game. And then when we opened this is when we actually broke our streak that we had going. But yeah, I've been a diehard Reds fan my whole life, and so yeah, we've got the Bucks, the Reds. We've got a couple of jerseys. I got a Ronaldo jersey. Really like watching him play. Got a jersey from one of the guys that played at Alabama, Josh Chapman. That I was actually his homeroom advisor in high school when he was in 9th grade. so I've known him a long time, and he played here, and so we hung up his jersey, and then I've got another jersey for Mike Loxley, who's now the head coach at University of Maryland. But Mike was one of my really good friends while he was here, and so we have a lot of cool memorabilia. I don't know if you caught the Pete Rose hat over there, but there's a signed Pete Rose hat. There's a Sheffield bat because Gary did the HR 500 cigars.
Sure.
So he did an event here, so we got the hat, or we got the ball, the bat, and the poster.
You need to get Poppy in here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's recovered from getting shot.
I think he has. Yeah. I saw him post something just today about the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival. So each one of these rooms, I notice, have a theme. This obviously is the sports room, all the sports memorabilia. I was in another room that was, I would have called it the movie room.
Yeah.
You've got all these old movie posters. What is your all-time favorite movie?
Oh, that's a tough one. Man. That's tough. I probably would go. I probably would go with Star Wars: Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite movie. That's probably the movie I've watched the most in my life. That's probably my favorite.
Did you ever see anything in that movie that you didn't see before? When you keep watching it, something pops out?
Not anymore, man. I've seen that movie probably like 150 times.
Okay.
So, it's and it's always good. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. I watch it. I typically watch it once or twice a year.
For me, it's Goodfellas.
Yeah.
That's my all-time favorite movie.
That's a good one.
I have a personal connection to Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah?
We won't get into it in the interview, but I'll tell you offline. But I actually have a funny personal connection to that movie growing up in that area at the time. So how long have you actually smoked cigars? Started around 21, so we'll start your age.
Let's see. We started smoking. I smoked my first cigar when I was 18. When I graduated high school, we went down to Aruba to celebrate graduating from high school. And all week I was like, Dad, I want to smoke a cigar. I want to smoke a Cuban cigar. Can we have cigars? Can we have cigars? And Dad was like, well, okay, fine. And so this is actually a funny story. My dad had smoked cigars my whole life. I had zero clue. I had no idea.
Really?
I had no idea that my dad had always, that he'd been smoking basically my whole life. But I never had any idea because he didn't want me to, I guess he didn't want me to think that, that smoking was basically okay. Cigarettes and stuff.
Right.
Right? He didn't want me to see him smoking a cigar and say, oh, well, my dad smokes, so, I can smoke cigarettes too. So he always hid it from me, which is kind of remarkable, but I think it's really cool. So we actually smoked our first cigar in Aruba, and then we got back from Aruba, and we would smoke, I don't know if you remember La Finca.
Oh my goodness, man.
La
I got
Finca.
one of the original La Finca boxes hanging on my wall.
Yeah, we actually, our first...
very raisiny cigar.
Yeah, our first box purchase, we went into a Costco in Birmingham, and they had the La Finca boxes. I think it was like $50 for 25.
Yeah. We
bought a box of those, and I'm embarrassed to admit that they made me sick.
Yeah.
I got physically I got the cigar high.
You got the nicotine hit.
Yeah. Because this was when I first started, and I wasn't used to smoking stuff, and it would throw up on the little, now I would smoke a La Finca, I could chain smoke them, and it'd be totally fine. But back then it was it was a big deal. We would, whenever we would, it was always a big deal when we would try new things, and we would go to, we called it the R our back porch, and Always had a great time, and cigars were always something great for me and my dad, because it was time that we actually spent together, not not sitting around watching TV or just we would actually sit around, and we would back in the day before you had all these smart devices, we would actually sit around and we'd actually engage in conversation.
Sure.
And it was a good time for us to spend together, father and son, and have real talks about real things that matter. And that's what really got me and him into premium cigars, and a big reason on why we opened up this place.
So what is your favorite cigar?
Oh man,
That's a tough question.
It's like people ask you, like, if you were stuck on a desert island, what cigar brand would you have? My favorite brand is Padron.
Okay.
Top to bottom, they're my favorite. I started out, I think the first box of cigars I ever bought was a box of Padron 2000s. And you used to be able to get a box of those for like $80.
Yeah.
Yeah, those days are long gone. But the Padrones have always been one of my favorites. Every special occasion in my life has always been a Padron. When I graduated from college, when I graduated from law school, I met George at an event that he did outside of Liberty. And I said, "Hey, George, I'm going to graduate law school here in the next couple months. What cigar should I smoke when I graduate?" And he pulls out a Padron 45 out of his pocket and he hands it to me. And he says, "Why don't you smoke that?" And I thought that was so cool. I was like, "Oh, awesome. That was a $30 cigar, and I was a college kid, right?
Yeah,
he just handed it to me, And I said, "Well, awesome." And I saved that thing and I put it in my humidor, and sure enough, when graduation rolled around, I smoked that with my dad. I don't remember. I think Dad probably had like an Opus or something.
Mm-hmm.
But we smoked. I've always smoked. At my wedding, I found some Padron Millenniums. We got married last March, and
Congratulations.
Thank you. Me, my dad, and my wife, and my best man, we all smoked in Cigar Coupe. Cigar Coupe came
Coupe.
for the wedding.
I love Coupe.
Yeah, Coupe's the best. Coupe came for the wedding, and so we all smoked Padron Millenniums for the wedding. So, like I said, I think Padron's my favorite cigar. I'm a huge fan of the Warped Skyflower.
Oh, I loved Warp from the day I met Kyle.
Yeah.
His cigars are always top notch.
Yeah, there was a cigar made at Titan de Bronze that nobody talks about. That was my all-time favorite cigar. I can't get them anymore.
The Futura?
It was Liga Miami from Sean Williams, Premier Mundo.
Oh, okay.
That is my favorite cigar of all time. I've got like 2 boxes left of the originals from like 2009, right? And I hate smoking them because it's like once these are gone, they're gone.
Right.
But yeah, the Liga Miami, the Skyflower, the Padron 45, and then the Opus X Power Ranger. Those are probably my top 4 favorite cigars.
Okay. So let's go back to the shop for a second.
Yeah.
So you have a membership policy here?
Yeah, we do. We've got lockers, and that comes with some with some cool benefits. We have the upstairs, we have the downstairs, and we have the upstairs. So we let the locker members have the priority for the upstairs. So there's 3 seating areas upstairs, and if you're a locker member, you can go up there at any time. And then you get the locker, you get discounts, you get bonus points on our loyalty program. And then you get, typically you get first dibs. Like when we get Andalusian Bowls, that's in my top 5. Andalusian Bowls is in that top 5. When we get Andalusian Bowls, locker owners, they get to get the first priority for them, and they get to get more of them than regular customers do, as kind of a, you know, when we have those limited edition cigars that come in, we get, the locker members get to buy more of them than, you know, Joe Schmo off the street. So.
And what does a locker membership cost?
So it's $350 for a small locker, $550 for a large locker, and we do it actually a lot different than a lot of other shops. If you're a frequent customer, right? If you come basically and support the shop throughout the year, you know, and you're, you know, a good not even a loyal customer, you're just a good customer. Typically, we let you, if you've hit 1,500 rewards points, you can use your rewards points to comp your locker membership, so you can cash in your rewards point for your locker membership. Or if you've hit 1,500 rewards points, you can make a purchase at our anniversary event, and that'll cover your locker fee for the year, so you don't actually have to pay the locker fee. So that's something different that we do, because I'm not here to sell lockers, I'm here to sell cigars.
Of course.
So I want people to buy cigars, because I never liked paying the locker fees as a consumer, right? Because it's like, okay, I get to store my cigars. Well, I got humidors, you know, I can bring them in, you know, but like, I'd rather people get more for their money than just having to pay for a box to keep their cigars in. So, you know, it lets them get cigars, lets them have cigars that they can put in there, so that, you know, they actually feel like they're getting something for their money, as opposed to just saying, well, I'm paying for a box.
Right. Now, you got a really nice walk-in humidor and a separate special humidor. How many total facings would you say you have in your shop?
We have over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yeah, we have over 1,000, and it's very deceiving. It's very, very deceiving, because our humidor is not large, right? That if there's like this house and everything is huge and grandiose, our humidor is not large, but our humidor is actually very, very well stocked, I'd say.
Yes, it is.
And
floor to ceiling.